Okay, cool. So this is me recording it again because the previous take did not do well, and my battery died on the SP, or the this battery died that controls the SP that powers it. All right, so I'm back. So let's do this video, and I'm gonna try to make this one shorter because the last one was pretty long that I filmed, and I'm not trying to go edit anything. All right, so we're at, again, SP404 and Drambo. And why I like this combination is because of a few things, and I'm just going to kind of show you. So the Flexi sampler is the main ingredient here, and you'll see I have it on different tracks. So this is my kick. I didn't label these because I didn't have enough time. This is my percussive one. Maybe I should have labeled them so I'm not guessing. This is another percussive one, and then which is like I believe is this the hi-hat or the shaker? Lord, see, this is why. Let's turn this one off. I don't think there's anything on this one. This was one I'm showing as an example. And then this should be, I think this is the hi-hat. But anyway, next time I'll just remember to label them. So this is what the beat sounds like. Okay. And so just so you know, the mastering chain has the Saturn, Fab Filters Pro Q3. That's the EQ. And then it has Haze 2, which is a widener. And then the Barricade, which is, I've told everybody about, which is compressor limiter. I like it for the masters, very clean. And yet it's great because it does what I need, which is just to pump the volume up a little bit louder. So recording in, so you can see in here I did something a little bit different. I chopped the sample, the drum. Well, first of all, I played it in, recorded it in the drums, right? Then I chopped up that portion into the sections that it is. So there's the 1 bar, 2 bar, 3 bar, 4, right? You don't have to do that. You could just play it all the way through if you're content with it. But the reason I did that is if I ever want to go back and do this, instead of having it as note here, if I ever want to do this as random and have it play random, I can do that. I have options, a little more options there. This is the percussive part. I'm gonna see. Hold on. Let me see if I can. So, a little shaker. Tambourine. Oops. There's nothing on this next track here. I think I was using this in the demonstration just to demo it. I might remove all this, which is fine because I do need to put a bass in here at some point. Track 5. This is something. This is, well, it was something. I guess I took the notes out of it. I'm going to put it at 4 bars. Go over here, and you got to take it off offset and put it on note. And that looks like I was demonstrating something. So that's another one that I'll be getting rid of. Just remove that information. And we'll go back here. This information is already removed, so I'm not going to worry about these two there. I'm going to turn those off for right now. And then here's the keyboard. Now this is what I'm going to show you today a little more of. Something that I discovered. So I didn't discover this. This probably was already here. I just found it out. Okay. So I haven't used the skip back feature in here to get the audio, which I think is an amazing feature. Now I understand it even more. But you'll see over here I have on the slide over tonality. So in this track here, I'm just going to add in decent sampler, which is what I used to do those pianos, by the way, if you're wondering. Flex. I'm going to slide this over so you can see it. This is a free piano plugin, decent sampler, free sample. Pick that one, turn that back just a little bit. And then if you bring in tonality, you can either, well, put it back in slide over rather, because that's how I want it, yeah. All right, and then I'm gonna turn the piano up, drop it back just a little, because this piano can get pretty loud. All right, so all I did was just pick some chords that I want to use for it, right? And right now, I think I have something else soloed. There we go. That's why I was doing that. All right. So I just picked some chords. I don't even remember which chords it is. I do know eventually because I can just those chords. But because there's a slew of chords here, I think it was these. Yeah. Boom. So there you go. I just recorded those chords in. And what's cool is Skip Back is recording from the iPad into here while I'm doing that, right? So if I go take the start button here, slide over, you can see about right here. If I zoom in a little bit, I can probably put it. So there's those chords. Of course, I played them better than that is. I'm just showing you that this was the thing that Skip Back can do it. So you can come in here and maybe you don't want to play in Drambo like this or even the AUM. You just want to get those chords that you want. You can play the pattern if you want and just pick it off of here. You can actually drag it to a pad or get it to a pad, or you can play the chords and then bring them in here and then finish the beat inside of the SP and then bring your SP or bring everything else back to your DAW of choice, or in my case, I like Drambo. So I wanted to show you that. So that's how I got this right here. And all I did was sample it back. But what I like about doing it through the SP is you can see I use cassette and lo-fi on my master bus, or you can put other effects on there, whatever you want. But now that cassette and that gives that extra little crunch. Because if you listen to the drums, let me do the kick. They're actually dirty drums, so they have like a lot of grit in them already. I'm gonna get that off. And what's cool is if you do choose to use any of these methods, by the way, I have these on a mute group so that they cancel each other out. If you try to do them on gate, it'll just come off when your finger comes off, and sometimes it'll mess up in the process of recording. So it's just up to you on preference on what you want to do. You can literally sit there and gate each one if you want. But when you come off the gate, you see what it's doing there. It's messing up because it's not holding the sound. It's not, I can't sustain it, is what I'm saying. So when you record them, you see this one, record it and make sure you get a little bit of that tail end when you're recording into here so that you don't. So when you switch, right, then it'll do that. You need to stop it, hit exit there. Okay, so now you have this. Now, if you want to normalize it, it's in there. I use the amp. You need to put audio, put the input as USB-C, put an amp in front of it. On the drums, it's not so bad, or at least the kick and the snare is not so bad. So you might turn the amp to 0. Just put it at unity, or whatever you want to call that, detent, whatever. Just put it at 0. And then it'll play in. But sometimes, like when you're recording the percussion in, and I did it in without it, but it was very hard to do. I can't adjust in here. It doesn't allow me to adjust by the dB. So let me get that one off. And you can see that's only a 1 bar, and then I just put the notes in to trigger it, which I'm fine with that volume. But what I was having trouble with was getting it to register. So let's go to like 4, and let's do, because there's nothing on 4. We'll give her that. We'll come to 4. No, we don't. What I'm trying to get this back is, I think it's hold. Whatever. We're going to get it back to, the purpose here is to get it back to 0. I don't know why when my fingers do this, sometimes I'll mess up. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to use the pencil and see if it'll do it. I know I can hit this and reset it. That's why I don't understand why it's not doing that. Okay, this is a user error. All right, I don't want to frustrate anybody or myself with this. All right, so there you go. So 0, make sure this is set to note if you set it to anything other than note, and there was something here, I think I had my hi-hats here, but I didn't save it or something. So yeah, if you set it to anything other than note, like for instance, if you set it to random, then it's just gonna pick spots, like going back to the beginning. It's gonna keep triggering unless you slice it up. So if you do this at 0, hit record, put it on threshold and do it at 0, you see it doesn't work. You can shift fix and fix the velocity. Shift fix. Shift 1 is the fix velocity. You get it louder, but you'll see it still doesn't hit the threshold properly. So you have to, for some reason, you just have to amp it. Right? And so to get it to time, the timing appropriately right on it, by the way, I'm gonna just take these off. You do better to play the beat and just play to the beat. So what I like to do is set the metronome. You don't even need the metronome once you have everything else in, but if you want to put the metronome on recording or on auto, you can, or always on. I'm gonna just put it on always on for right now, and then I'm gonna hit play it here, right? And then I'm gonna hit record, and then I'll start when it goes back to the 1. So then I know that last 1 is where it goes off. Whereas I actually have to play into the 1 just to make sure, right? Now it should be good. So all I gotta do is just stop it there. Now I could sit here and chop this if I wanted to. I'm not, for the purpose of, I just want to put it on that. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it's just saving time. But 1 shot, trigger, note. If you put it on anything else, yeah, it might not play. All right, so, and you can see they're off. So you don't have a time stretch in here. So if they're off and you don't, the quickest way I find if you got something off is find a section that's not off, right? So listen to it. And that sounds bad all the way through, in my opinion. It doesn't sound good at all. So I'm gonna just remove it. And I'm going to try to play it better. I really want to turn this amp down. Let me see. I guess not. It still doesn't recognize it. So let's play, take that trigger off. For me. All right, so I'm just doing this for the purpose of showing you. So trigger. So there's parts of it that's on, parts that are obviously not on. I'm gonna do this right here. Edit, trim down. All right, cool. The hardest part about this is now you got to find where that part is. So this is 1 bar for sure. Pretty sure. Actually, it's not 1 bar. I'm not sure. Let's do this again. Record. 1, 3. Of course, it wouldn't record when I press that. All right, so play it. One of the things I'm kind of frustrated with it, and I'll be blatantly honest, is that instant is obviously what it is. It's going to work instant, but the threshold, sometimes it needs to be, you need to be able to adjust the threshold so that you don't have to sit and do this. But whatever, it's not the greatest on this one. So one way you could fix this is because I'm not going to sit here and try to trigger these notes perfectly right now. It's just not going to happen. Here's the way I would fix it. let's say you're off on it and this is not happening. You're like, I'm getting frustrated with it. Don't get too frustrated. Watch this. Trim this thing down. Go ahead and do set slices and detect transients. If it doesn't detect the transients, that's fine. Go ahead and put 8 in. You can tell by where, these that you have. Now you'll have to adjust these. It's better when it detects the transients. It doesn't require all this extra effort. It's usually nicer, but for some reason, it is what it is. Sometimes it just doesn't get it, okay? But watch what I'm going to show you here. And then you can do, this is going to be the simplest way to fix this. Not a big deal. All right. So there's I told you to put this on note, but if you put it on random and you set it on one slice, then all you have to do is every time you hit this, it's going to pick a different slice. So all you have to do then is, and watch, I'm going to make this even easier for us. Delete that. Is just do 1 bar. Same number, same C2. Okay. And by the way, we can turn this down a little bit because it is quite loud. If you hear a slice that you feel like is, man, that slice sounds off, just go in and adjust the slices. Slide over. If you want them a little off, you can do that too. You can set them a little off. By the way, you have an offset too. You can always offset them a little bit if you want them. You could do this. And see, it kind of offsets it a little bit. If you don't like it, if it's too much and it's not, you're like, it's frustrating you, just adjust it a little more. Little less. I'm going to turn it off. I like it without it being on. I'd prefer personally to go in and manually offset it a little bit if I'm going to do it. It's nice when the detect transients work, and that's one of my things that I'm hoping that Drambo will fix a little bit. Just fix the little stuff, like making sure it works on time. But that's kind of important, especially when you're on a step sequencer, making sure like the detects transients is important because it speeds up your workflow when that stuff just works. Yeah, adjust your volumes and settings, all that. So there you have it. That's all I wanted to show you is that, and the fact that you can record into here. So like this is a multi-purpose thing, having the iPad. You can, let's get rid of this sampler here, get rid of that. And you guys have seen me do this before. You can add in your bass. I'm using this for my bass. Let's see, Trillium. And where is it at? There. By the way, I own Trillium, so I'm not telling anybody to do this or not do this, but I'm just letting you know I actually own the program on the desktop and I use it all the time. So you could play the bass off of here. I'm gonna have to move it over. My fingers are too big to be right next to the SP, but you could just this is not cutting through the mix, and this is why I will typically come in here to the processor and grab processor. Think of, if you're new to Drambo, I think of processor like effects, right? Generator is like the AUV3, the plug-in itself, or the instrument itself, and then the processor is effects. That part I have down in my head pretty clearly. And I'm looking for grand finale. There it is. Okay. And then I'm going to go to bass. I like to use the bass cut through. Just helps it cut through the mix. So if you know the chords you played, in this case, I'll have to slide this over and refresh my memory. So B flat minor is the same thing as A sharp, right? So And then, so you have B flat, or you can say A sharp. Then you have D sharp, if that helps, because these are in sharp, so it'll help you. So you just go B. So B flat is D sharp. So if you, what did I do there? So you can learn your first 4 chords, because that's all I'm playing is 4 chords anyway. So it's B flat. We already learned that. D sharp, then F, then B flat again. So it's just 3 notes. And if you want to put it in the same scale as this, in tonality, you got to look in here. So it's in the key of A flat or F. So F minor, so A flat or F minor. So you could do that down here and add it in if you want to. I'm not going to do that. It's 3 notes. I'm just going to memorize the notes. So you can come up with some rhythm that you like. Take that note off because we don't need that. I don't know why that's on. Okay, and then you could play that back. And what you could do is just play it here. Now, if you play here, it's going to record in the mark, so you can't do it that way. If you wanted to put these notes in here, you could put them in here and play it if you're more comfortable with that. So let's see here. There's no room technically in here to do this, but so it'll be kind of hard. You got to be mindful of what your samples are. Since I didn't record this in, let's do some exchange in here. I prefer. Now, one of the ways I could have made this work, because I'm a person that likes to keep it all on this one bank. Some people will use the whole project for their stuff, and that's fine too, whichever one you like. But one thing you can do is you can sample in a C note on the bass. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So record, hit record. I'm going to go here. Go here. Bring the end point. I'm going to truncate that. And then I'm going to do this. Okay. I'll zoom in and see if it's on 0 crossing. Looks, sounds good. It doesn't sound like it's... All right. So I just took a note. Then I can hit Shift Chromatic. So you got to know this is C and it goes up. So C sharp, D, right? So if you're using D sharp, you got to figure out which one. I really kind of wish they would, but I guess they can't because you got other modes in here. So it would be kind of hard if you didn't put numbers, I guess. So this is going to be D sharps right here. So if you want to go A, then you probably want to go back, and it goes this way, if that makes sense. So if that's C, you go back to B, B flat. So there's your A sharp, there's your D sharp, or E flat, whichever one you want to term it. And then your F is going to be up here. So if this is D sharp, this is E, this is F. So then you could play it in this system, or you could, in theory, grab another audio. So the audio, this is trying to help you remember these things, because listen, I'm trying to remember myself. So the audio in is always in the miscellaneous. So throw one of those in, set it to USB, and then grab a generator, and you're gonna grab a flexi sampler. So these are your sampler options. Go in here, set this thing to threshold, leave it on module input. I'll show you in a minute if you need the amp. We can put the amp in there. We need to test it to see if the amp will work without it. So let's just do that right now. Weirdly, it's not working. I say that because you would think, as loud as this bass sounds right now, that it would just work, but it's not registering it. So we are going to have to put an amp in. So where are the amps at again? They're under modulation. I lied. They're not under modulation. See, I'm still remembering myself. They're under mixer, I believe. And I lied again. Good gracious, I gotta stop doing that. Where are the amps? Processor. Yes. So a processor. So it processes the sound. That makes sense. So again, we need test. That seems to work. I don't want the bass to go abstract crazy loud, because then you can't mix it if it's just distorting like that. So I think leaving it at 0. If you want to crank it a little bit, depending on the bass you're playing, maybe you crank the amp just to maybe 3, but we're just getting it to 0. Okay, perfect. And we're going to use those in the chromatic mode. This is cool because this is forcing me to use chromatic, and I never, literally never touch that. I usually just play it from here. Because I don't like doing chords on here. I don't mind the bass on here, but the chords definitely annoy me on here. So I would prefer to play my chords from tonality or scalar, okay? Single note stuff don't bother me at all. But if the chords are solid on here and then I can play them back, I find that I can get better sound from that. That's just my opinion. But anyway. All right, so we set the threshold. We're going to have to hit, we might as well set this to 4 bars so you can watch it go by. And we'll start recording on the 1, or back on the first bar. Did that record? And by the way, you got to stop the record. I keep forgetting to do that, but this might be more challenging than just playing it in Drambo, in my opinion, and then record into a pad. It wouldn't be challenging in the SP at all if you want to do it that way, but the way I'm trying to do it here could be, it could be a little challenging, a little frustrating maybe. You got to set this, though, to note. And since it is, in this case, a 1-shot. Yeah, so it's not recording it clean like I would like it. So because it's a bass. So the other option would be grab my bass guitar and just record a bass guitar into here, since it's only 3 notes. But if you don't have that, that's why I'm not trying to really show you that option. I think in this particular case, it might actually be better to record the bass and use the mark here instead of trying to do this. I don't want to exchange that. I want to delete it. Instead of using that note, because I still feel like it doesn't stretch the notes as good in the SP. Hopefully they'll get it there. I don't like if the note does, some sound good, some don't. No. So take that all off, go back over to 5 where we have it here. Now this may work better if I sample each note into here individually, because then I know the note's pitched to where it needs to be. And that would be, to me, in my opinion, that would be better. But I don't have the space. I only got 2 notes that can be in here, so I'm not going to deal with that. So I'm going to finalize this one by saying I'm just going to record it in here, and we can pick it up on the mark, or pick it up from there if you want to bring it into here. All right, so this time we're going to do a little bit different. I'm going to hit record. It's going to give me a click track. Don't hit record there. Just hit record. Okay, stop. I don't like that. So what I don't like about it is this particular note here. I feel like it needs to be that one. So I'm going to switch to piano because I like it better because I can view it and move the piano as I want it. So and so the notes again are A sharp, D sharp, F. So I'm going to lock this keyboard because I don't want it moving on me while I'm playing. So press the lock. Let's play around. For some reason, these notes just don't sound. Maybe I should just play it in this register over here. Let's do that. By the way, if this is too loud, this bass, I have it really, you can always change the output here and just drop it back a little bit if you need to. That sounds a little bit better. Let's try it. Now I feel like the volume's too low, so I need a little more output. I want to hear it. I can always adjust it. Oh, jeez Louise, that was loud. All right, let's see if that works. Can always back the master volume off later, but I need to be able to hear it when I'm playing it. I like it better down here for some reason. All right, so let's just record that. Try it. Still not hitting where I want it. Maybe I'm playing it too high and I'm trying to. Let's try that out. Delete that last one. We'll go with that for right now for the sake of this video since I've already spent too much time. So there you have it. All kinds of ways. Now, I could solo out this if I wanted to by soloing out, right? And just play it, use the mark. So let's do this. Let's delete the mark. Exit out. We'll lose that. That's fine. And now we'll just play just this. By the way, you got to turn that metronome off because I think it will probably record the metronome. So we're going to turn that off. Let's just see. Yeah, of course it would. And it's recording pretty loud, so I'm going to turn it back a little bit. So exit. Yeah, we don't mind losing it. All right, let's go here. All right, I let that last little part so I would have a, and then you just go in. And you know this is the start of the new note. We just got to delete it. Boom, get rid of it. So now you have a perfect loop and the skip back. So we're just using skip back to do it. Hit record, add it to a pad, done. Now you might wonder why that volume is really low. It's because I'm running it through this cassette lo-fi. So if I wanted to, I could take the lo-fi off. I could go into bus 4 and just turn the lo-fi, turn this one off, completely bypass that one. So now it's just the cassette. Which is probably what I should have did. But I like the keys going through the lo-fi and the cassette. Sound good. The drums sound pretty good through it too. I probably could have, I like them on there. I'm gonna just take the bass off of that and leave that one off. And so the last thing I would do, we got all these tracks, so might as well use them. Why not? All right, so again, we go find the miscellaneous, find ourselves a nice audio in. Go here, we want an amp. I don't think we need an amp, but I keep saying that, and then we need an amp, so I'm just gonna go processor and grab that amp. And then I'm gonna go into generator. Worst case scenario, if you put the amp on, it's not gonna affect anything. If you just leave it at 0, it's just giving you a 0 dB. I want to say you could just enable it and do it, but it doesn't always work for some reason. So set this to just note for right now. Go into record, threshold. So see, it's not recording without this. So I'm just go ahead and enable that. Okay, so stop that. So it's recording. Exit here to stop, by the way. You could do it on gate and hold it down. I'm going to put this on loop so that I'll know where to chop it in here. So I'm going to hit record. If you want to do fix, you could do fix and just adjust the volume. Okay. Leave that on threshold. It doesn't really matter. All right. So you saw where it was. Boom. The good thing is you can do this in Koala too, by the way, what I'm doing. The same thing I'm doing. You don't have to have Drambo to do it. And then you can adjust the volume, the master if you want to. So now it's set, right? So I put a note in already for it. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to put in that note. It's going to be the note we use. You can see it's playing, but you don't hear any sound. So let's go back over here. We got it on one shot trigger. All right, so it's right now, it's because that's soloed. Not the best bass line ever, but whatever. It's just a simple bass line to kind of get a groove, right? I'm gonna put it right there. Yeah, just making sure that I don't know why I just did that. All right, cool. I'm actually gonna trim this thing. There we go. Don't forget the trusty old save. I still haven't named on this project here. That's the other reasons I don't want to name it a couple banks just to move. But you can see, like, you can keep it in here. You can put this together inside here now. You have all the files here if you want to export them and just bring them that way. I'm going to take the loop off base. I don't need it on there right now. But that could have been better, but whatever. It is what it is. The bass is actually running in here, so you're hearing two different things. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna mute it. So I can't even hear it, to be honest with you, like this. So the other option would be, you could do this if you want. You could. So this seems like a lot to me, but if you want to get it into here and then bring it back as a sample, you could do it that way. I'm probably leaning towards not doing this and just recording, in my opinion, if you got the iPad, because you're trying to get the sounds to something, right, that you can use, just put them in, do some of the sounds in Drambo. But if you really want that sound to have the SP flavor that you can get from the cassette or whatever, then you'll have to go and send it through here and then put it back into here. That's the only way I can think to do it with this combination. Otherwise, you'd have to have a sound card maybe, and it'd be a lot more. But yeah, so this will work, right? Is that thing the only thing on? No. Did I accidentally delete the wrong one? I sure did. Oh, joy of joys. Anyway, well, that's it for this video. Mistakes happen, especially with me. And I deleted the keys is what happened. So I played those in and I didn't save them, but they're here. So I might be willing to say I would just go back in and record that again if I really wanted to keep it. This was more like a demonstration track just to show you the functionality of what you can do. All right, I am going to get to some other things I need to get to, and that is it for this one. A lot of fun, a lot of stuff that you can do, and as this machine grows, and of course iPad is, you know what it is, you'll find more ways to work within certain devices. Maybe I'll get the guts up to say we could use the SP with Cubasis, and it might actually be a good thing. It might actually be a seriously good thing. I don't like creating in Cubasis at all. But if I was just putting audio tracks in, and the fact that now you can sequence in here, or you can make your song in here, then you can just export the stems. Dropping the stems in Cubasis probably wouldn't be bad because the audio in there is pretty good. But I definitely don't want to create in it. I don't want to use it for anything else. I'd much rather just go use Ableton, to be honest with you, at that point. But anyway, that's me. To each his own. It's an option. I do have Cubasis. If you are interested in seeing me try to do it with Cubasis, I will do that. Just let me know. All right. And only the real people that watch are watching it to the end of this 44 minutes. So I know you sincere if you really want me to do that. All right. I'm out.